Hi, this is Nitya and Tiffany, and we are giving a transmedia orientation experience at Ball State University. So, our design brief is to reimagine the student experience at Ball State University through transmedia student-led approach that can be replicated at other schools. After having conducted multiple ideation sessions, semi-structured interviews, and saturated group sessions with the various stakeholders like students, parents, orientation managers, what we found out was that 4 socialization methods used during college orientation are ineffective and uncomfortable for the incoming students. This is Dean Johnson. She is our user persona. She values learning new skills, being successful, but objects to forced socialization and found the forced meet and greet at the orientation uncomfortable. What we found out, the key findings after having conducted the saturated group sessions, we are going to walk you through some of the key findings of our design solution. Social key findings. People find and dislike icebreakers. They feel that it is ineffective because they are unable to make personal connections during those sessions. People don't find being forced to interact with other students comfortable. It's not like they don't like interacting with other students. It's just they don't like it when it is forced. They would rather use a digital technology, have a asynchronous mode of communication, or use social media for communication. Or even if the interaction is based on the people they choose, they would rather go with that. And they would rather have smaller groups rather than a bigger group. One-on-one or a mentor is a preferable option for them than having a group of 30 students. They even dislike the ordering which is done. If it is alphabetical or something, if it is rather than on the basis of the majors or their interest groups, they would rather prefer it that way. Asynchronous communication talks about how people rather would have interaction through social media or some technology wherein they can give answer through a multiple choice question rather than having to have a face-to-face interaction with the people that they will be orienting. Satisfaction key finding. Satisfaction key finding basically talks about how the students want an engaging and entertaining orientation experience which involves games, has a lot of fun and activities, has food, and there should be an incentive or reward system because apparently students work better when there is an incentive at the end of the whole process. If they know for sure they'll be gaining something out of the whole process, they would definitely work towards doing it rather than not. Okay, so now we come to the design elements. On the basis of the key findings that we have got, we have a set of requirements, must-have, and constraints. So requirements are, it should be an engaging activity, have easy navigation, freedom of participation, then it should be incentivized, use technology, interesting, peer mentoring, etc. So it basically talks about all the things that we found in the key findings and what we found that should be there in the final design solution. And then we have the must-haves, which is that it should be arbitrary timeline and processes, which is they should have the option of choosing when they want to do what they want to do. They should have an interest-based activity, a choice of going and selecting what what they like versus forcing to be forcing to sit down for something they don't like. Asynchronous communication, online information availability, which talks about how the information should be available online beforehand, because it is not like they don't want to get the information that is being given. They would rather have it and go through it online than sit through a lecture. Social media is really in these days, and everything, social media networking is a must. Then interactive games and activities. It definitely helps bonding better when you have on-hand interactive activities, and incentivized processes definitely makes students do or perform an activity. Constraints are things which they don't want to do, so they no forced conversations or icebreakers, no grouping based on names, long sessions, and too much information. So on the basis of these requirements, must have, and constraints, we have kind of summed it all up as the goals of the design solution, which is having a transmedia orientation experience which comprises of no forced socialization, having an immersive orientation experience, no information overload, and encourage participation. So now Tiffany is going to walk you through the prototyping session and the final design solution.
Okay, so for mid-fidelity prototyping, we went through an ideation session with 2 people, and we came out with our 2 designs right here. So this first one talks about grouping people into sessions and having them go into each room as sessions and conducting a walkthrough with different booths, as you can see here. And the same idea is done here in this, but instead of just doing sessions on only having to learn things from information and everything, you go through and you can choose what parts you want to participate in, just as you would choose here for these sessions, but these are centered towards games and incentives. So from those ideation sessions and from our requirements and our must-haves, constraints, and our key findings, we came up with this prototype, which I will be walking you through the physical and the digital experience as Jane Johnson. So Jane Johnson is our user persona that we talked about earlier. So the idea would be Jane would walk through and enter the student center as our key opening station. So this would be the physical aspect of the student center. And she would walk through, and when she comes to this first booth, she finds out that there is an app that she has to download as a Ball State student. So she will go through, log in through her app, and if she would rather find her information on the app at first, or if she'd rather walk around and find some information physically through all these different sessions on her own, she could do so. But for the app, it guides her through these physical sessions. So Jane would go through and choose what major she's choosing to be on, and then she'd come down here and choose an interest. If she does not have a major, if she's undecided, or if she does not have an interest, she can choose to skip either one. So then it takes her to her profile, and Jane has chosen to be a journalism major, and she's interested in graphics. So just for signing on and walking through the entrance and stuff, she gets 100 points for this. So then she moves on to the next phase of the app and on to the next phase of the physical orientation. And she goes through and sees that there is another level where it has interest booths physically, and she also can go to another session or another section of the building where it has majors booths and stuff like that she wants to look at. So as she's going through here, she goes to the home page and figures out that, oh, I can go down and go to the drop menu and I can either go to home, profile, find a buddy, map, sessions, scavenger hunts, prizes, points, messages, buddies, and buddies invites. So she goes through here and walks through the home profile, and she decides that she wants to see what kind of messages she has. So since Jane has gone through and found some buddies and stuff, she now has buddies with Sarah, Amanda, Josie, and all that, and then she goes through and she decides that she doesn't want to go through a session at the thing yet, so she decides that she wants to go to a scavenger hunt. So she goes to the scavenger hunt page, and she finds that there's a scavenger hunt at 9 a.m., And as she goes through, she can see the capacity of the amount of people that are in the scavenger hunt. She can also see where it starts at, what time it starts at, and who else is in it. So it says here that her buddy Amanda is in the scavenger hunt with her. And then as she's going through that, she sees that as she starts the scavenger hunt, she can choose what building she wants to go to first. So since she's a journalism major, she's going to choose to go to the arts and journalism building. So as she chooses this, she goes to the next page and it shows her the map that leads her through as a routed area and takes her to the arts and journalism building. And she can click on the arts and journalism building on the map and it says she can either find the address or she can get directions to get there. So when she does that, she gets the arts and journalism building, and there's a QR code that she can scan. Once she scans that, it has now locked her in for another 100 points, and she finds out information about the arts and journalism page or building. And then, so now that she's decided, I'm kind of tired of the scavenger hunt page and doesn't want to do the scavenger hunt anymore, so she decides she wants to go back to a session. So she goes back to the student center and finds that there is a session for BITE, which she's kind of interested in, and it's part of the journalism department that she's going to be joining soon. And she sees that the capacity is only at 27%, and her buddy Sarah is in there. So she's like, okay, I'm going to go in there and have a session and learn about BITE. So then she decides, after she finishes the session for 30 minutes, she wants to see how many points she's now gathered. Well, since she's added buddies, she's gone through, she's gone to a session, she's gone through scavenger hunt, she's gained up to 300 points. And at the very top, you can see that the unlock a mug for 300 points. So now she taps on that and she finds out she's now got this mug and she can go pick it up at the student center on the first floor. And since she needs a little help trying to figure out where she's going at the student center, she can pop open and see that there's a BSU mentor page where she can have a chat, and somebody's already started talking to her to make sure that they can help her. So she can either choose to chat or she can choose to call them. And as she's moving on from there, she decides that she wants to find a few more buddies because she doesn't have very many of them. She wants to find somebody that has a little more of her interests or is involved in her major. So she can choose to find a buddy by major, find a buddy by interest, or find a buddy by taking the survey. So she decides to take the survey, and she marks down through the survey what she dislikes, what she likes, what she's into, what's her interest, what's her major. And then it pops up as she finishes the survey that she is now matched with Amanda and Olivia, who are both journalism majors, and Amanda is interested in graphics and Olivia is interested in arts. So then she chooses to tap on Amanda, and she sees that she also has a buddy invite before she gets to see Amanda. So she taps on her buddy invite, and it says that Josie would like to be her buddy. So she can either accept, send a message, or view her profile. And by doing so, she decides that she doesn't really want to add her yet because she doesn't know enough about her. So she goes back and sees who her list of buddies are just to see who she would like to go through and find as matches. So it shows here that all of her buddies that she's been matched with and all the buddies that she's already accepted. So, and then the results of this, when we walked through with students and older students had already been through orientation and stuff, we did a SUS report, so it's the system usability scale. We got a 92.45, and it was just from them answering whether they liked or disliked the things that they liked, the things that they thought were strong, things that they thought were weaknesses, and stuff like that. And since our usability scale average was 92.45, we got above an A on our prototype, which the A scaling is an 80.3, so just fairly good. Then another thing that a few of the participants said is that they really liked the idea of this orientation app because it helps guide people. They also liked that it was very organized and helped them feel that they were in control of it themselves. And they also discussed that they really enjoyed that they were able to walk through the orientation and walk through a sort of a scavenger hunt / campus tour on their own, and they were able to choose that on their